Hey, I'm Robin Reed, and I'm here with the lovely Alexandria. Where are you from, darling?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, that's right. Right. Well, we jumped on the call, and you started sharing with me what was going on with you. And we attended Rythmia together in August, right? It's like I think second week of August, first or second week of August, I think it was. And so
Yes.
now here it is, kind of end of October, and so we both reintegrated, and we're here to kind of hear what your experience was like and what's been going on with you. So, talk to me. What was it? What was life like before you went to Whitney?
For the past couple of years, I feel like the journey I've been on has excelled and dropped deeper into seeing like the roots of who I am. So before I went to Rhythmia, I would say that I was in the step of the process where it's like I can see the picture, but I can't fully digest it because I'm not there yet. It's like I can intellectualize and emotionalize with it. Emotional is not really a word with it sometimes, but it was more often than not pain and like discomfort. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was this huge rock I have yet to face, and everything I was perceiving was actually caught in a complex of illusion. You know, it was like I couldn't actually actualize the thoughts I had yet, but I was trying,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, it was like growing and excelling because I had support, but also being stagnant and misplaced at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I get that. And how old are you, Alex?
19.
19. That's amazing. That's amazing. You're my second interview with someone that young. And what's continuously come up is that a young adult could jump into this work. And I think, and I just so we're clear, so we don't sound like we're a bunch of old people. We're really just most of us are probably just envious that we didn't experience or didn't come across this work much earlier. Truthfully, most of the listeners to this will see this and go, "Oh my God, I wish I could have done that when I was 19." So there's just a lot of admiration that's present for the willingness to step into this and be so brave. So,
I feel like th- I feel like this a big part of it is like where we are in space and time though. Like yeah, this has been a substance that's around forever, but
mm-hmm,
I think in this modern age, the relationship with it and how it's exploding and how it's a necessity is different. So we're receptive in a different way, but we're also very like fortunate to be able to go and experience it, you know. Like I can't like express enough in my everyday life, in my heart, like like to be able to do this at a young age is something that can't be taken for granted, you know.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you know anybody else in your same peer group that's done this or anything like this?
Similar, yeah, I have one friend that's done ayahuasca and he's 19
Okay,
and he did
cool.
it well, but like not the same way. He did it once with his family and like a couple shamans, and then
Mm-hmm,
again like that like a year later. I feel like there's something hyper intensive about doing it every day in a row, and actually exactly how Rythmia does it. I like the whole time I was at Rythmia, I was like analyzing deeply about like every single thing they did, I feel, and like
mm-hmm,
how it made sense, and I felt like it was the
mm-hmm,
perfect equation to deliver to an individual the type of experience they needed to come into contact with a deeper sense of divinity and
mm-hmm.
value in everyday life. But
Wow.
I also think it takes a lot more than going to do like the ceremony once, you know, or twice or three
Mm-hmm,
times. Well,
mm-hmm,
once like for a week, I mean, you know,
mm-hmm.
it's your whole life. But
I love
that's
that.
a
So
great start.
what I hear you saying is that it's not just this place where you go and you drink some soup out of the woods of Columbia. It's a place that's deeply connected to um, um, getting you to show up in a certain way to where you're open and you're safe, right? To
Mm-hmm.
for this experience to happen, an experience that most of us have never had. because we've just never been guided to it. Um, the actual resort and staff, what was that like for you? Integrating there from arrival to being picked up. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces, right? They
Mm-hmm.
scoop you from this Costa Rican airport. They take you an hour and a half south, and then they take you onto these grounds. What was that like for you? You know?
um, every single part of the experience was comfortable and pleasant on the surface level. Any sort of anxiety or discomfort I could have felt would have 100% been because I was stepping out of my own comfort zone. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the task and their behavior towards me and how they like took care of me and held space so that I could be, was 100% like like a container that didn't have any cracks in it. You know, it was very explicitly secure. But like I wasn't completely like open and like personal with the staff per se, just because I was stepping out of my own comfort zone and like
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit shy. But within like 2 days I feel like I cracked and I was just like, oh okay, like I
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate. You come in with those walls and those defenses, and before you know it, they're they're dropped. What was the actual ceremonies like for you? What happened? Did you know they say get your miracle or
Can
reunite
I
with
say
your
one
true
more thing?
self? Yeah, for sure.
um Something I thought of earlier was something that someone else told me recently, that was that for this isn't I don't let me start over. Within harmony with other people means opening up ourselves. And you said this earlier, that at Rythmia they set it up in a way that helps you open up yourself. But when you go and you do ayahuasca in other settings, I feel like since it's more personalized per se, you might feel like you can let yourself out, but it's private in a way. But when you have to do it around 70 other people that are doing ayahuasca, there's something like right next to each other in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
There's something terrifying about that at first, but it
Mm-hmm.
forces you to take down that like privacy box you have inside of yourself that separates you
Mm-hmm.
from others. And it forces you to see like, okay, we're all here trying to get through the same, well, not, we're trying to, like, we're using the same substance to get at something inside of ourselves that's different but like similar. You know, we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
come back into harmony with the world and each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
makes that idea of like, this is my private time and my privacy and I don't want you to see, and it like kind of disintegrates that
Oh,
because
for sure.
the, yeah.
Right. It's like being at a hospital together. You know, you're healing. You know, you're
Yeah.
healing. You're taking this journey into something that most people never even look at. What was the difference between, like, they start off with breath work together, and then we do 4 ceremonies, and then they have breath work again. Several have commented, and this was my experience as well, um, that the second breath work was very different for them than the first breath work with those 4 ceremonies in between. Is that your experience too, or talk to me more about the ceremonies and some of your experiences?
Well, I actually didn't attend the first breath work before the ceremonies. My flight came in very, very late.
Okay,
Actually, not even that late, maybe like midnight or 11.
I see.
And so that part I couldn't compare.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that the first breath work I had and the second breath work I had did also feel completely different. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't really answer that question.
Yeah. What happened to you in ceremony? Anything you can share with us?
Yeah, at least I can share with you how I perceive what happened, but it's so like polluted, I feel, with like my preconceptions.
Right,
But that's the whole
right.
thing about it. I feel like everything is going to be polluted to our preconception. That's how it's our dialogue with it. It's our independent relationship with what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's our phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
So my first day in ceremony was the most visual experience, which I think I heard common amongst other people. But
Visual? You said visual?
yeah,
Like just being
visual.
able to see? Okay.
Like, yeah, but it was so fast. because my brain was fast. You know, I didn't, everything just feels like a moving image, but I understood it because while it was being experienced, I was thinking in it. It's like I was seeing and intellectually inside of this experience that was going so fast and feeling that in retrospect, it feels like a moving image that I can like reach into and pull out. But in the moment, you know, time just went by. I recall the first night, I feel like I met my soul. And I remember after the first night, I was like, I think I'm done. I actually remember having this thought during the experience, like at the end, like I was looking at it retrospectively, like this was so intense, like I have no clue how to label this experience within the information they were feeding us prior to the experience. Like heal my heart, show me who I am, and I don't remember the third one.
Merge me
I mean,
back to my soul at all
yeah,
costs. Yeah, it's the third. Yeah.
And so the first night, I think I saw my soul. I felt I saw my soul, but I didn't see it like characterized. It was like a sun, and it was infinite and yellow and bright and shining, but it also had this like plasma quality to it. But within that yellow plasma was like blue and red squares, and the red and blue squares had these like rainbows pouring out of them, but they were red and blue. It was like this wave of energy coming forth. And I remember I like looked at it from the distance. Oh, but before all of it, I just saw a giant praying mantis. It like looked me in the eyes, like up in my face, and then it showed me this image. And I didn't communicate with anything. I just like watched, I observed it.
Yeah.
And then I like went inside of the little like squares inside my soul, and I got taken back in time and in the present time and into the future, depending on the box. And I saw experiences of attachment for the past and how that attachment is playing out in my present with how I'm perceiving people in my life and how I'm trying to make these outcomes in the future because I won't let go of the attachments of the past. So it was like showing me in a way the energies inside myself that I'm holding right now. If I wasn't to take action and change the way that I'm perceiving, then this is what possible future outcomes could be like. But it all felt filled with love regardless. It was like this underlying coat of optimism because I knew everything was okay because it just felt like love. It was like this is what's going to happen, but it's all love. Even though the experiences weren't pleasant at all. Like they were uncomfortable and unbearing. But then after that love faded away, it was like I had no center. Like I wasn't experiencing the visual anymore. I wasn't in that world. I was in my body and I was freaking out. But I wasn't freaking out in a way that was unmanageable or unenjoyable, actually. It was like I was free and I was letting myself embody myself. But the piece of myself I've been running away from. And I remember one of the shamans came over and was trying to tell me to find my center. And I was just like having so much fun being a spaz. It was like I knew where my center was, but I didn't want to choose it. It was like you have this choice and you're choosing this one because it's what's easier. You know, and this is just retrospect, of course, because that's where I am. But that's what that first night felt like.
Yeah. And this was the shaman on the, I think it was the fourth night, the shaman they brought in. Yeah, he was amazing.
First night.
Oh, the first night. Okay. Okay.
This is the first night. It was Shanti.
What was your experience with, what was your experience with support staff? I mean, it's a ceremony, so it's like everything is set up. I mean, everything is dialed in. What was your experience walking into that it's not a dojo, but it's one of those open platform type of of buildings, just trying to draw a picture for the audience, that you see, I like Japan, and it's 2-3 feet off the ground, and it's all open air, and it's an amazing experience walking up to it. It's a beautiful structure. But walking into those rooms with all those beds and those pallets, what else can you tell us? I mean, everybody's experience is unique.
Yeah.
Did you get your miracle?
That's a complicated question.
Mm-hmm.
But if I got my miracle, I'd probably be simple about it, right? Definitive.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I didn't get my miracle, though. I would just say there's so many dimensions to what that could mean, you know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like when it comes to this idea of miracle and this idea of like cosmic infinite energy,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you can perceive the first layer, you can perceive the last layer, you can perceive any infinite in between. So I don't know, I overthink it.
Yeah, but it's poetic the way you put it, though, because I think one thing I loved about talking to you while at Rythmia, and even know now, is you make me think. You make people think that, wait a minute, if there's more going on, right, than what we see, right? That's just one sense. There's also all the other senses, and then there's cosmic things happening outside of those senses. Um, what kind of healing did you get? Did you experience any healing that was notable?
I feel like I did experience healing, but it's still processing,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like I went there and I left a different person. It's like I went there and I left with this giant hole of cleanness in my heart, and it was up to me to like continue looking within that space to find deeper understanding of what it is that happened, and what I'm going to do with that. But I 100% would
Mm-hmm.
say, since it penetrated my mind and my heart and my body in a way, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it helped put things together that have been disharmonious.
Mm-hmm.
It brought a deeper sense of harmony to my roots and to my understanding
Mm-hmm.
that I can choose to either contract or expand, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to expand it and contract it, but overall expand it.
Wow, well, that's a miracle. That's a miracle. Just the fact that you know that is and have that awareness is huge. So, was this a one-time thing for you? Will you go back
I've been
regularly?
thinking about it, like going back, especially recently.
Yeah,
Like I want to, yeah,
yeah, I love
because
it.
I feel like I only got like a toe in the water, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. I feel the same. Several people have shared a similar feeling that the work's not over, and that they want to submerge themselves more in this. Will you? What do you tell other people? When they say, "Hey, you did this ayahuasca thing," that's that's a that's the um, that's the devil, or that's this. All their preconceived notions. I'm sure you've heard it get put onto you.
Yeah,
How do you
yeah,
describe
I
it?
have.
How do you
It makes
describe it
me,
without limiting what it could be for them, right? Because it's a technology that shows up differently for every person. So how do you put it into words?
yeah, it's really hard, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like the way that I've approached it in different ways. And something I learned is that like there's a lot of skepticism and
Mm-hmm.
lack of trust in ourselves and in each other and in the world because of our preconceptions of it.
Mm-hmm.
But so like when I approach it in the way that it's like a trust, it's really just about having trust in another perspective, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it like when we're in one perspective, we can't fathom another perspective. We might be able to think like and intellectualize another perspective, but to really feel like what it would be like to be in a different embodiment and deeper truth is, that's why it's like there's so many things that are said left unsaid, like they're left for the silence, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's almost impossible to try and bring someone to that perspective by sharing them with it if they don't trust in it. But and if some piece of them in their deeper truth rings with that and they have that open-mindedness, or their preconceptions aren't solid in closing it, then it could call to them, you know.
Mm-hmm. I do
But
know.
if
I think that's well
if
said.
I'm enjoying, is it because I feel like I'm not on the dot, like I feel like I didn't even answer your question.
Well, I like the way you say it because, and you're a deep thinker and a poetical conversationalist. So, um, I like the way your mind works. What I hear you saying is it's like I can tell you about my experience, and you can step in and try to recreate my experience. But does that even resonate for you? Like, is that the experience that you need to even have? Um, um, I left very committed to not selling it, to like not promoting it. I wanted to be someone that was attractive to it. Like people said, should I do this? And people have asked me that, and I said, I can't say you should do this. I would say it's a very reverent process, and I would say bend a knee or do yoga or whatever your spiritual practice is, and ask if it's calling you in and is asking you to do this. But don't just make it it's not a trip, it's not like trying. It's a ceremony. It's a deep ritual ceremony. And I saw when I was in practice with you, I saw you coming at it that same way. Like, we would share space, and it was just kind of like there were no words. You were standing next to me, and I was standing next to you, and it was just
You
this
just
depth.
knew.
You just knew. You just knew. Yeah, it was just new. It just new. So yeah.
But that's even crazy too, you know. It's hard to have complete trust in that, and it's so understandable that you wouldn't. It's like,
Mm-hmm,
what is it that I just knew? Because there's phenomena and there's truth. And what
mm-hmm,
I can be saying is what I just knew could be just lost in the phenomena again. But is it
mm-hmm,
about what I'm perceiving, or is it about what I'm feeling? You
mm-hmm,
know, are these labels that I'm putting on my in- intellectualism of my emotional experience just ways to help me cope and understand, or are they truths? You
mm-hmm,
know,
mm-hmm.
it's really hard to know the difference, because they can be one or the other, or
And
can they
maybe
not
they're
be? I don't
truths.
know.
Maybe they're truths for you, right? And I think that was kind of what was conveyed to us so much was that um, it is technology. It's the perfect technology of nature, and this medicine takes you wherever you need to take to open up the synapses of your brain that allow
Yeah.
you to break down all the barriers that we intellectualize that don't allow our heart to work. And it was cool to see so many people arrive and then go through this experience, and then at the end kind of have that glow. I saw that on you when we were there, just that that more heart expansive glow, and that was exciting. So what else would you like to share about this as we kind of uh, wind down our time together? If
Does
somebody's
me
really,
flipping this like
it
mess
just
it up?
it doesn't mess it up. My head just did that all the way around and tell it self-correct and say, no, you're cool. And we like the artistic background. That's perfect. But
Yeah.
if somebody's
It kind of
really,
is, right?
that is super cool. If somebody's really looking at this and thinking, should I do this? Especially if it's someone young, maybe a peer for you. Is there anything you'd like to tell them, or anything you'd like to share?
After my experience, I made a list of people in my mind before I knew that, like, if I got some people to come here, I could also come back. Before I knew any of that, I was like, this all like I want so many of my friends to come and experience this, because I think that especially at my age, 19, it's really confusing, you know, between like 15 and 25. Like that's, I think, an ultra intensive period. Well, all of life is ultra intensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the psyche, so many things are being processed, but also either made harder or softer.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with when people have a seed planted inside of them, and we're living in today's society, I feel like going in, if you have any piece of trust in that and taking that leap of faith, won't bring you down. If you trust it, if you make the decision, you should go with it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it can do nothing but good. However, I've heard that it can also be really intimidating if people have no idea what they're getting themselves into,
Mm-hmm.
or no, like they think they have a a platform of trust, but there's actually a lot of fear on it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, when there's a lot of fear, like the fear can be healthy and it can lead you fine, but I think it can, if it's not calling to you, like, I don't know, it's complicated. So like
Yeah.
I tried to, you know, mention to these people about my experience and about if they would be into it or trying it out, but it's interesting because I feel like no, yeah, as you said, like nobody can bring it to them. They got to bring it to them. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
would say like 100% worth it, and I wish it upon everyone that feels that internal
Yeah.
yearning.
Yeah. Yearning. I like that. Um, Powerful, the way you've recapped so much of it, and I appreciate you agreeing to do this. I think people are asking these questions about this technology, about this medicine, and how do they do it in safe ways. And there's been conversations about, making sure it stays in the right hands, right, of people that really um, feel strongly about what it's here to do. And creating safe places where people can come and be taken care of and go through this journey. So um, powerful, super powerful. I'm really honored that you agreed to jump on and do this with me. And I've missed you. So anything else you want to share?
Yeah. Well, I'm interested also in your experience, you know.
Mm,
I don't know if this is the time and place that you'd be interested in going into that, but I'm curious as to how it all was and is for you. Because I also, you
yeah,
know, like felt a shift in how you went throughout your time at Rythmia, and I didn't get the chance to sit down and talk to you about it, especially since you're amidst the experience. But I did have like a curiosity, like how is this going, you know?
yeah. My experience was powerful. I have, like you, I have a ridiculous amount to share, too much to do due to our time restraints for the video. But I'm actually doing a series of posting about my experiences, about the travel there, um, um, how they pick you up. I've got some, and take you to the resort, as well as what happened in ceremony, um, um, and how when I came out of those experiences, how I really evolved as a person. And so I'm actually going to do a separate video series on that. And it's funny, I'd love maybe as part of one of those series. How about you come and interview me?
Okay.
Yeah, you take the
Yeah.
challenge.
I mean, I'm up to take the challenge. Yeah.
Okay, cool,
I
cool.
don't know if I'll succeed,
I'd
but
love to
you're all
switch
right.
seats with you. Yeah, you'll do great. You'll do great. For time,
And that time, maybe I'll like not be outside in the cold. You know, I'll be
yeah.
nice and secret.
Well, I'm in Southern California, so it's super warm. But anyway, thank you so much for being here and just all the love and heart that you bring. It was incredible experiencing this with you. And again, seeing you come forward with such depth and such maturity as a young adult just really inspired people more than you know. And so thank you again, Alexandra. Appreciate you sharing your experience and being part of this. And let's go back. Let's go back.
Totally.
I love it.
I do want to say though that like hearing that makes me feel really warm, because while I do have a seed inside of me, I'm still so very much like not there yet, you know. But
Hmm.
hearing that after your experience, you really like stepped into yourself. That
Hmm.
brings me a lot of like so much optimism and love and joy, because I don't know, it's really good to hear that someone else that underwent the same experience, of course different for you, but you know,
Hmm.
is having a similar outcome, and that I can get to where I'm walking and looking, and it's just a matter of time and
Yeah,
choice and patience,
yeah.
you know.
And trust me when I say that you'll never arrive.
Exactly, yeah.
You'll never arrive.
You never
Literally.
arrive, but you develop security, I feel.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you again, Alexandria. We just really appreciate you, and I really value my special kinship with you. And thanks for sharing your experience. I can't wait to hopefully hear about your next journey there, and maybe even be at your side and do it again. What an honor that would be.
Likewise, Robin, 100%.
Sounds good, darling. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay,
All
bye.
right.